Let's go. Good afternoon, blockchain crypto gang. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. How y'all feeling about these numbers, man? BTC acting a fool. We didn't see it get to almost. Listen, I'm playing poker last night, right? And I get a notification saying Bitcoin is approaching 123,000. I'm like, whoa, because it's been running, right? It's been running pretty good. So I said something, to the people at the poker table just to kind of throw a little, because listen, I remember years ago, if I would ever bring up crypto at a poker table, no one would know nothing about it. Very rarely would people know about it. But over time, I've noticed that more and more people are in tune to this crypto thing, not just Bitcoin. They know different cryptos. They might not know like some of the news that isn't on the mainstream, but a lot of them are really tapped in. So when I did say, oh shit, Bitcoin's at 122,000, whatever, everybody starts talking about it. And that is an all-time high. Like Bitcoin has been seeing all-time highs the last week or so. And it's crazy. And as much as Bitcoin is doing this thing, reaching these all-time highs, 122,000. Right now it's sitting at 119, which is still pretty damn extraordinary, right? But everyone was talking about XRP. Everyone at the table, it appeared, including the dealer, were big on XRP and held XRP. What is going on? What do people know about what's, what I'm saying? Like XRP right now is sitting at $2.92, right? Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think the all-time high for XRP was like 384 a couple bull cycles ago. So still, a lot of people are calling for a $5, $10, even $15 XRP. Even some of the people I was speaking to, I even took a little break from the table and I was chopping it up with this dude about XRP. And this happens more and more and more at the poker table now. But yeah, they were saying, oh, I think $10, this and that. Now, here's what I will say. A lot of people aren't in tune. So this is what really should be a good indicator for how much potential we still have for growth in this market. The fact that even when I'm speaking to these people who are very bullish on XRP, hold XRP, we're talking about at least 5 people at the poker table, including the dealer and myself, all holding XRP, all bullish on XRP, but a lot of them don't know some of the little things, like some of the little stories that you will find. For instance, a lot of people didn't know that at this point in time, you can now use your crypto for collateral, for a down payment, for a house. People didn't know that. So if you really think about it, we really are still very much unadopted. Like, I don't even think the numbers are 5%. I've heard up to 7%, but let's just say it's 7%. Let's say 7% of the global population holds some type of crypto. I would probably say that's a little bit larger of a number. I think that we're inflating that number a little bit, but let's just say that's the case. That's still 93% of the global population that doesn't. And keep in mind, like I said before, when it really comes down to, dealing with cryptos, as more and more adopt crypto, they're going to adopt centralized methods. Meaning that, when these ETFs, because I think some of those numbers reflect probably people who have Bitcoin ETFs, which is basically a Wall Street stock at this point. So how many people really hold crypto, really know how to deal with crypto without having to go to these centralized services? I would say the number is still pretty low, which means there's an advantage for those who do know how to deal with these decentralized protocols, because that's how you're going to get some of these coins that may flip a lot. Plus, that's how you're really going to secure your actual holding. But let's just look at what's going on. We got Bitcoin at 119,000. We're looking at a total market cap of 3.75 trillion. I shared a meme in Blockchain Crypto Gang. And this is when Bitcoin was, probably lower than it's at now. And it was barely below the market cap of Amazon. So out of the biggest companies, matter of fact, let me just go to it. Let me just show you it. It's just a meme, right? I thought it was pretty interesting, though. Let me show it to you guys. Let me find it. It's just a meme, but it is factually accurate. So I want to show you this. Let's go to Blockchain Crypto Gang, the Facebook group. Now let's see what we got. I know there's been a lot of spam lately. We got 762 members right now in Blockchain Crypto Gang Facebook group. But this is what I shared right here. Oh, okay, so here we go. It's right below Amazon. So, it's a meme. I think of The Shining. Basically saying Bitcoin is breaking into the market cap of Amazon. And if you look at the numbers here, Amazon is 2.359 trillion, Bitcoin 2.358 trillion. This is before it got to where it's at right now. This is when Bitcoin was like at 116-ish. So I believe we've actually surpassed Amazon. I believe Bitcoin has actually surpassed. So look at the top 10 global companies and their market cap. Bitcoin is now at 6. Actually, it's at 5 now. Bitcoin is the 5th largest company, if you would call it that. It's not a company, but by market cap, let's see what it's really at. Let's go back. This is crazy. We got to really take this. We got to take this in, you guys. We have to understand like where we're at right now, what's going on, so that we can take advantage. It's actually at market cap 2.38 trillion. So what was this saying over here? 2.38. Yeah. So it actually is bigger than Amazon right now. 2.35. It's at 2.38 as of now. So in other words, it has surpassed Amazon. It surpassed Amazon. Yet, as I said before, let's go ahead and anchor this back to XRP since I do have some XRP news I wanted to share with you guys. Like I said, so I'm at the poker table. And, Bitcoin's at all-time highs, but everyone's talking about XRP. Everyone's loving things about XRP and not even really being as educated on like the news about XRP. They just know that it's fast. This was part of the discussion, that it's cheap to move. So they just understand that principle. That alone is having retail investors, feeling good about XRP and what it will do. Now, there was a gold bug at the table as well. There was somebody at the table who was all about gold. And, we had our discussions back and forth about the gold. And I'm like, yeah, gold's cool. I know it's been used for thousands of years, all the talking points that he's saying. I'm like, but it's not really divisible. I hold gold, by the way, physical gold and ETFs. So I'm not against gold. Gold is crazy high right now. Gold has really been doing its thing. Like I would suggest, if I was to do so, that gold is probably a good investment. And I'm more bullish on gold than I have been in the past. And that's why I do have gold physically and, electronically. But as we know, you can't really spend gold. There's no place that's going to take gold. And even though there's not a lot of places that take Bitcoin, it's very easy to instantly use your Bitcoin or other cryptos, convert it into cash. You can spend it basically. Coinbase cards, Gemini cards, things like that. So here we go. XRP, number 3 in market cap, number 3 in it's part of the big 3. XRP is back to the big 3. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, that's how it was when I first started getting into crypto, and that's how it is right now. So it looks like the blue chip cryptos are still holding pretty good. We got Solana now in the top 10, Dogecoin for whatever reason, just because of hype. BNB, we won't even count Tether and USDC because those are stable coins. So as far as investing wise, yes, there's utility on those coins. Tron, for some reason, is sticking around, the biggest scam coin in the market, if you ask me. Cardano, people were talking about that too, but XRP was the discussion at the poker table yesterday. Everyone was very bullish on it. I wasn't going to share a story, but I guess I'm going to share a story. And that story is this, because I'm not going to hold you guys too long. So XRP news today, XRP surges 15% to 275 on institutional demand and banking integration. So in other words, what they're saying is, hey, these institutions are on it, and why can't I move this damn thing. This is crazy. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I don't know why I can't move this thing, man. It's crazy. Oh, there we go. So there we go. Look at this. So there we go. Support zones 265. So actually right now it's at 292. Ripple Lab is working with several Latin American central banks to bridge CBDCs across borders using XRPL, which is XRP Ledger. These pilots use XRP as an intermediary liquidity asset, reducing settlement time from days to seconds. Now, this is actually something that we were actually talking about at the poker table. People do understand this, like even like your most basic retail investors. Of course, if you're into XRP, you do understand the benefits of being able to have these institutions, because that's where a lot of this demand is coming from, these institutions. I've said it before, like just compare like your micro use cases for XRP. So for instance, I transfer money from my bank, from one bank to another bank, and I do this, regularly. And it's going to take 3 to 5 business days in most cases. In most cases, it's going to take 3 to 5 business days. So if I say like, yo, part of my check, I want to be sent to my other bank account, to my savings account, it's going to take 2 to 3 business days for that transaction to complete. And now think about it. It's not like the bank is really sending a courier to go pick up the money and then drive it to the other bank. That's not what's happening. All they're really doing is adjusting a ledger. The same thing blockchain does instantly. Well, depending on the blockchain, XRP, for instance, it does it instantly. So if you're a bank or if you're a corporation and you want to send money to another business, you're doing business overseas, and you want to send 100 million or $1 billion, you could do it instantly for free, rather than paying large fees and waiting days for that transaction to settle, which may disrupt your business, because who knows, the fluctuation of local currencies, the fluctuation of whatever products or commodities you're dealing with, it can make all the difference by the time it settles. So on a micro level, we understand some of the benefits of sending money, or like in the case of remittance, right? You're sending money back to your home country or whatever, like El Salvador, for instance, which is 25% of their GDP, and they could send money either using Western Union, which is going to charge them 25 to 30%. And whoever's going to go pick up the money have to actually physically get up and go to wherever the location is, get the money. And let's say it's a seedy area. Now you got to get that money safely back home, but you've already lost like 25 to 30%. Or, oh, okay, you have a Bitcoin wallet. I'm just going to send it to you in Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin is legal tender in that country, now they can immediately spend it. It's all of that money is going into their economy. So, there's micro use cases, macro use cases. So if I'm a large company, I need to send $1 billion and I could do it instantly for free, that is a lot more efficient. So of course, you're seeing a lot of these different countries globally who are now tapping into Ripple, and Ripple has the development on their blockchain to facilitate these type of movements. And they have the salespeople, the spokespersons, the support that, they can have these conversations. They can shop for business, and that's exactly what they do. So a lot of this could be why XRP is starting to spike. We get this news all the time about all these different banks and institutions that are using XRP for this and that. A lot of people don't know that Western Union used to use XRP. So I'm just telling you the story about how they charge 20 to 30% Western Union MoneyGrams, which is true, but they were using XRP. Yes. So MoneyGram. So this is what I'm saying. This is why you want to know how to deal with these protocols on your own, because if not, what happens is a lot of these large corporations and institutions, they'll build on top of these blockchains. They'll utilize the services of Ripple to move the money for you. You're none the wiser, but they're charging you a fee to do what you could actually do yourself. This is why you should know about these protocols yourself. This is why it's more advantageous for you to be able to deal with these decentralized protocols directly yourself. So this is what a lot of people are starting to see. Look at this right here. Hold up. Ripple has launched the Global Liquidity Hub 2.0 in partnership with HSBC, SBI Holdings, and Standard Chartered, offering instant interbank transferring using XRP as a bridge asset. This marks one of the largest banking integrations in crypto history. Following SEC approval, a spot XRP ETF has launched in both the US and Japan, managed by Fidelity Digital Assets. The ETF has already reached $3 billion in assets under management, signaling massive institutional demand for XRP exposure. So we get this news all the time. We've been getting it for years now. Now, maybe some of it has been a little bit suppressed as far as like the news. It doesn't hit the mainstream, right? And it's also been suppressed in terms of because of the lawsuit, right? They had to maneuver through that lawsuit. Then keep in mind a lot of different companies that may have business that they intend on doing with the XRP or just within the crypto market, blockchain itself. They're not going to be as, willing to outwardly express that until they understand that there's some type of regulations and policies in place that they're clear about, so they don't end up, getting caught out there on a Ripple situation where you've been doing business on Coinbase for years and then all of a sudden the SEC sues you and you don't really know why because they didn't never make any of the policies clear. And even though you win the case, it takes billions of dollars and years to do so, et cetera, et cetera. So once we get a framework that is more clear and understood, you're going to see people jumping out the window with all kinds of different crypto related products and services. So a lot of times when we first get this news, it doesn't like have an immediate impact on the price, but it all sits there under pressure for time and time until it all blows off. And this is when we see these big spikes. Saying you can't hold Bitcoin down. The price of Bitcoin is not going to, like, the price of Bitcoin probably should be already at about 200,000. If you think about it, look how scarce it is. Look how much demand there is for it. Every 4 years, it gets cut in half. How much is being produced? The demand is not being cut in half. It's being adopted by retail investors. It's now on Wall Street. There's several Bitcoin ETFs. It's being put in pension plans in Japan. It's legal tender in El Salvador. Ukraine and Russia was both utilizing it for the conflict that they have. And there's only 21 million of them. There's more Bitcoin being bought every day than is actually being produced. We're at a serious scarcity issue right now with Bitcoin. So yeah, it should be probably a lot higher. So what we'll see is you can't keep this market down forever. And all this stuff reaches a boiling point to where it boils over. And that's where we see these large spikes. So people are saying that Bitcoin could go to 200,000. I believe it could for this bull cycle. I don't depend on it going to 200,000, but I believe it can. XRP reaching $5, reaching $10. I mean, the last all-time high was 384. We could definitely probably get there, right? And why not a $5 or $6 XRP? Why not? We're seeing all of these banks and institutions globally that are utilizing it one way or another. There's a use case for it. Now, don't get me wrong. Any blockchain could be used. You can use Bitcoin, Lightning Network. You could use Solana. You could use Algorand, XLM. You can use a lot of different cryptos for what people are tapping into XRP Ripple for. You actually can. The difference is when it comes to XRP, there's already the development, right? Their whole blockchain has been development towards being able to integrate it into banks. So they're already ahead of the game with that because that's their specialty. And then you also got to keep in mind that they actually have salespeople, Brad Garlinghouse and et cetera, to where like they actually hold these meetings with these banks. So they explain it, let them know that they have support behind it, how it works, blah, 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 blah. So even though pretty much any blockchain can essentially do what any other blockchain can do, like they're all created with the same potential, but it's all on the development side. It's all on the business relationship and the rapport that these blockchains have with certain industries based on what they were developed to do. So we're going to see XRP, I think, make some moves. A lot of people holding that XRP bag. XRP army is huge. They're dedicated, and I think it's going to pay off. Like, I remember when XRP was 8 cents. I wish I would have got more. I wish maybe I shouldn't have sold when it got to that, $1.90 or whatever it was last bull cycle. Maybe I should have held on to more. But I do continue to, hold XRP. And I do believe it can get to $5. I do believe that Bitcoin can get to 200,000. I don't want to, do the moon boy stuff. I believe Cardano can get to a few bucks. I believe that this bull cycle can live up to the potential and the hype that we all thought it could. The market's been kind of shaky. I mean, we started off the year kind of rough. We got some things going on in the United States of America and globally that, kind of shook up the market. But I think we're going to be in business, y'all, because listen, historically, pattern-wise, it's usually about a year and a half after the halving. So remember, the last halving was April 2024. A year and a half from there would be about October of this year. That's about the time you would typically see the peak of the bull cycle. Some people say, and I don't blame them for asking this question, some people say maybe we already peaked because last year we did see let's look through the market. Let's go ahead and look at this. So, we've seen all-time highs with Bitcoin even before the halving and slightly after the halving, right? Let's see some of the ones some of my altcoins. If I can find it, it's going to be real far down here. But Propy, a coin that I spoke about before, it got to like $3. Now it's less than $1. Stacks, right? Stacks, which is the second layer Bitcoin. That's where they do all the ordinals and NFTs for Bitcoin, blah, 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 and you can stake it for Bitcoin rewards. That got to about $3. Now it's less than $1. So a lot of these altcoins really seen some numbers. Sneak, which is on it's on the Cardano blockchain. That was going really bananas. Here's Stacks right here, by the way. It's at 78 cents. It's up 21% for the week, but it's only at 78 cents. There was a point in time where Stacks was at like $3. So what I'm saying is, did we already quote unquote blow our load? Pause with the altcoin market. I don't think so. I think what we actually seen was a glimpse of where it's going to go. I think what we seen was just a taste of where we're heading with this bull cycle. So the market was going crazy last year and everybody was like, oh shit, I hope this isn't it. No, I don't think that was it. I think that was just showing you where we're going. I think it's going to explode this time around. That's why people are saying like, oh, I think we could see a $250,000, $400,000 Bitcoin. Like I said, I am not saying that that's where Bitcoin is going. I don't necessarily need it to, although it would be lovely if it did. But even if it gets to 150, 220,000, that's going to pull up the rest of the altcoins tremendously. And if you're in position and if you've been accumulating the last couple of years, you're going to be in a very good position. And now that we have the ability, if you haven't seen my last video that I did, maybe the last one before that, with now how you can actually leverage your crypto for mortgage. Think about that. You don't necessarily have to sell your crypto. Me personally, I'm not selling Bitcoin. I'm sorry, I'm not. Altcoins, meme coins all day. When I think I hit the lick on the meme coins, they're out of here. We're not holding on to no damn Shiba Inu type of meme coins forever. Hell no. No. That's what we're not doing. But even if you don't want to sell your altcoins, you can borrow against them without even converting them to money. That's what the new policy and law states now in the United States, that you can actually use it to buy a home. So now you can turn your crypto into tangible, still keep your crypto and pay that back and have both. So this is just different ways that now the common working class can utilize this crypto market and their know-how in order to leverage into generational wealth. Maybe you already own a home. Maybe you want to buy a second home and rent it out, Airbnb it. and you've been having this crypto and you got a nice little bag of crypto, okay, you can borrow against that without actually, selling it, which isn't a tax event for one. And for two, you still can pay that back and get it back and have both. Now we have different ways of building generational wealth. Essentially, what we could do now with technology, especially in this crypto market, is we can make some of the big power moves that rich people, that billionaires and wealthy people and institutions were only privy to at one point. That's what we have. Everybody give a like, by the way. Please give a like. That's what we're dealing with now. That's where we're at right now. We're at a point in time where we can actually leverage and make the same kind of moves, even though we don't have the same amount of capital. We still can make the same kind of moves. And what we're also seeing is the same way that we benefit from this crypto on a micro level. Okay, I like XRP because I could send it instantly for free. Hey, that was a bar, huh? That was rhyming. I'm a poet. So the same way we could do that, well, now these large corporations and institutions are realizing, hold up, we could do the same thing. So this is why they're not going to just deal with any crypto. Okay, let me just preach for a minute. Yes, I'm not saying that we can't make money off of these meme coins and off some of these quote unquote subpar or highly risky altcoins. We absolutely can make money if you know what you're doing. What I'm saying is when it comes to institutional use case, utility, yes, they can use Solana the same way that XRP is being tapped into, but Solana has a lot of outages. Solana's kind of new, some kind of new money. Solana doesn't have the rapport and the outreach that Ripple has. Solana doesn't have the development that is trusted because it's been tried like XRP. So this is something I said before. We're going to have the big three. Bitcoin, store of value, medium of exchange in some cases, but mostly a store of value. Digital gold could be used as a reserve even. XRP, that's going to be what's going to move money. Ethereum, that's the new internet computer. All kinds of different, contracts, smart contracts, and etc. Also, it's been used a lot for tokenization, NFTs or whatnot. Now, any blockchain could do any of those three things, but people are going to tap into those three because they have the best rapport. They've been around. The development is solid. The network's solid. Now, don't get me wrong. They'll be fill-in. So some of these other cryptos, they'll be in blockchains. They'll be filling in some of the need, right, of the market. So yeah, some people will use some Solana for transacting blah blah or NFTs or for building smart contracts. So it's not that these other cryptos aren't going to have any type of action. Yeah, people are going to use stacks as a second layer for Bitcoin. Yeah, we're going to see different things like that. And then you're going to see these meme coins that are just going to pop off just because they got popular and you got lucky because it's a bull cycle like Shiba Inu did last time and Dogecoin did last time or whatever. I'm just saying that, just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at what you're looking at. Make sure you understand the purpose for why you're bullish on whatever you're bullish on. I would say just make sure you understand why, because that way your expectations, you'll be able to plot your exit route or however you decide to do it. But anyway, to wrap this up, like I said, y'all, I was playing poker yesterday. Bitcoin went to 200 or 122,000. I said something on the poker table. We started talking about crypto and everybody started talking about XRP. So the bullishness for XRP that I'm seeing in the streets, the poker tables, like out and about, not just online, it's crazy. It's making me really feel like I don't have enough XRP. And that's what these bull cycles should do. Should always make you think, do I have enough? Damn it. So then when the market cools down, you buy that dip. We are living in an exciting time, one of the biggest wealth transfers of our lifetime, maybe even of humanity, recorded humanity, is happening right now. Don't miss out, y'all. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you haven't already subscribed, comment, let me know your thoughts. You can hit me up at mycryptoslang.com. You can join Blockchain Crypto Gang Facebook group. We need more people to contribute to that group, share different things. Just don't try to spam. A lot of spammers in there. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Peace.